close to 30 years of experience. Wendy is the founder of Personal Services Plus, PSP, Seasons of Greetings, SOG, and nonprofit Forgiving for Living, Incorporated, FFL. As a consultant and strategist, Wendy has worked with individuals leading community-based organizations, small businesses, and corporations in America, all while building a reputation delivering exceptional service. As a writer, Wendy is a weekly columnist for both the Los Angeles Sentinel and the Inland Valley News and has authored 2 books, The Preacher's Daughter, A Memory, and Forgiveness, Change Your Life Forever. Her subject matter frequently revolves around the theme of forgiveness. Wendy is a mother, grandmother, and wife, and is committed to her faith, family, and community. She believes everyone has the power to make a difference and lives by her motto, healing without hate. It's a choice, it's a lifestyle, pass it on. So welcome, Wendy Gladney, back to the front page.
Good morning. It is so wonderful to be here with you.
So glad to have you.
Thank you.
I understand that you were on quite a bit back in the day. What were you on kind of talking about back then?
Well, back in the day, I was a regular, used to be sometimes on Wednesdays, and then it went to Fridays, and I would talk about the power of forgiveness because of the nonprofit Forgiving for Living. So I also would share about what's happening in the community because for close to 30 years, I have owned an event management firm. I've segued into other things, but when I was listening to your prior guest, we are always looking for minority and especially Black-owned spaces. So
wonderful.
just to hear her say that is amazing.
Yeah, well, we can maybe make some connections here on the front page this morning. Your life's work revolves around forgiveness. Was there a defining moment that set you on this path and led you to create Forgiving for Living?
Yeah, so as a child, I was actually... I was abused by my father and abandoned by my mother. And so as time kept going on and I was able to go past all of that, people started asking me, how did you do that? And I didn't even really think about it. And one day somebody said, would you please talk to my daughter? And so that was how Forgiving for Living was started. So what we do is we help young women who have struggled with their self-esteem, with confidence, and with believing in themselves to know that no matter what has happened to them in their lives, that they can overcome and that they're not alone and that there is a community out here that supports them and stands with them. Yeah. So we've been around Forgiving for Living for 26 years.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, through Personal Services Plus and Seasons of Greatness, you've helped a lot of people and organizations to grow. How do you define true greatness in someone's life or work?
Well, that's a very good question. Thanks for asking that. And I think sometimes certain things come to us as we age and as we mature and as we go through the various trials and tribulations in life. And then we start to understand what's really important. And sometimes when we're younger, what we think is great is not necessarily as we've been able to mature and go through life's trials. So for me at this stage, I am a mom, I am a grandmother, I'm a wife. And so for me, what's important is about giving back, making a difference. Whose lives are you touching? When that dash between the day that you're here, when you're born, and then when you go home, it's about what difference did you make? Whose lives did you touch? Are they going to remember who you are because of what you did? Or are you just more interested in making money and trying to accumulate things? Yeah. And that's not important.
Yeah. We are talking this morning with Miss Wendy Gladney of Forgiving for Living, Inc. You can find her on Instagram at Wendy Gladney. That's Gladney. Now, your motto, healing without hate, it's a choice, it's a lifestyle, pass it on. That's powerful. What does that look like day to day to truly live that out?
Well, that every day that we get up, it's up to us to make the decision that we're going to forgive other people, and also sometimes starting with forgiving ourselves. Sometimes we're blocked. We're not able to make it to the next step because we haven't even forgiven ourselves for certain things in lives. And there's some things that happen to us that are, because of what we did, but some things we maybe were victims, but we can become victorious, and we have to learn how to overcome them. So for me, I get up every single day, and first of all, I live in gratitude. I'm grateful, and my whole life is about being a purpose partner with other people, helping them with what they're trying to do in life, helping them to understand that they can be shaken but become unshakable, that they can build the confidence that they need to become who God has called them to become, and to make the difference that they're set on this earth to do. And so it's a conscious effort every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you about it because you can. I love it when folks come into the radio station and they dress up. It just says something. I don't know. It says something that for me, it sets you apart, and it lets folks know that there is character behind what it is that you're doing.
Thank you.
Because people wouldn't know if you came here in your pajamas and a baseball cap.
Well, it's
Folks
also
would not know.
respect. It's respect for you.
And I appreciate that.
Thank
And you wear a lot of hats. Miss Wendy Gladney is a weekly columnist for the LA Sentinel, for Inland Valley News. How do you choose what you're going to share, and what impact do you hope that has on people?
Well, when I first started writing over 2 decades ago, probably closer to 25 years now, I used to really talk about what was happening in the community because of being an event planner, and because I used to do a lot of work with managing a lot of our various nonprofits and large nonprofits and what they were doing. So I would share about what's happening. And then as time started going on, they said, well, would you share a little bit more about forgiveness? So of course I do talk about forgiveness. But now I feel blessed because I'm giving some level of freedom to be able to share whatever God puts on my heart. So I try to give words of wisdom. And so sometimes it's called Wendy's Wisdom, as it relates to overcoming things in life and sharing with others, hopefully to help the next generation to become a better person, instead of just focusing on getting caught up in the social world. Sometimes in the social world we get so caught up with trying to keep up. Don't do that. Just learn how to be your best self. And so I'm able to write about that and to share that. I also heard one of the young ladies, I think it was the lady that was talking about golf, who was talking about protocol. And I'm also a graduate of the Protocol School of Washington. And so I also try to share with people how to just have basic kindness and learning how to just be kind to one another. Because we're living in a time and in a society where people don't even understand how to love humanity and to be kind to each other. And so for me, I'm blessed to be able to write about those types of things. And then I try to keep up with current events as well, but I don't try to get out of my lane. If it's something that I don't know about, I let somebody else write about that. But if it crosses my path in some of the areas that I've been able to walk, then I try to share a little bit of wisdom about that.
Yeah. Well, you're not only a writer, writing articles for various newspapers, but you're also an author. You have books under your belt. Forgiveness, Change Your Life Forever. In that book, you talk about the transformative power of letting go. So for someone struggling to forgive, what's a practical step that they can take?
Well, first of all, you have to be conscious. You have to realize that it's something that you have to make your mind up that that's what you're going to do. And for me, I had to realize, did I want to stay a victim or did I want to become victorious when I was younger? And I could also blame. It's easy to try to blame other people for where you are in life versus taking responsibility to change your life to be who you know you're supposed to be. And so for me, it started with forgiveness. I had to forgive my parents. I had to forgive a father who sexually abused me for 10 years. I had to forgive a mother who gave me up at 3 just because her family didn't accept because I'm black. And so both of my parents I ended up having to take care of until they passed away. And so for me, it was about living. I don't just talk it, I live it every single day as it relates to letting go and making a conscious effort of that. And forgiveness. And forgiveness is, people a lot of times think that forgiveness is for another person, but it really isn't. It's to free you. It's about letting yourself go to become your best self, and don't let other people hold you back.
Yeah. We're talking this morning with Miss Wendy Gladney of Forgiving for Living Inc. You can find her on Instagram at Wendy Gladney. That's Gladney. As I said, she wears a lot of hats. You also do a lot of coaching and consulting, and you've worked with everyone from individuals, major corporations. How do you tailor your coaching and consulting to meet people where they are?
Well, basically, it's about where somebody is at a specific time. I specialize with working with women. Primarily, that doesn't mean I won't work with our men. I love them too. But I really know that we as women sometimes need to have encouragement and to build confidence. And sometimes we think just because somebody's in the boardroom or they're a president that they don't have anything that they're worried about, but that's not true. A lot of times we have to encourage one another. So I coach and I tailor it based on what their need is. So I do an assessment, figure out, what are you trying to do? Where are you trying to go? What is your short and long-term goals, and how can I help you achieve those? So I help build the confidence. I help them to go from being shaken to unshakable, and to know that no matter what, they can do it. And that there is a team and a village behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've been going, as you said in your bio, for more than 30 years. You've been
since
at
1992.
My goodness. So building all of these businesses over 3 decades.
Yes.
Takes a lot of resilience. What keeps you motivated? What keeps you working hard? What gets you up in the morning?
First of all, my faith. I love the Lord, and I'm grateful for what He has done for me in my life. Secondly, I have a loving husband, and he supports me in everything that I do. And now, as a grandmother, I just, those little faces, and I said, I want to continue to help make this world a better place, and to help the next generation, because they're going to be faced with things that we didn't have to deal with growing up. It's going to be a different society for them. So we have to make sure that we're leaving it a better place for them and teaching them so that they won't have to fall into some of the same cracks that maybe we did.
Yeah. So talk to me about your nonprofit, Forgiving for Living, and maybe a story that captures why that is so important to you, the importance of your nonprofit, Forgiving for Living specifically.
Well, it's so funny because we used to do a lot of work directly within Jordan Downs, in the Watts Willowbrook area. And when we first started going in, a lot of the young ladies, they used to look at us and say, well, you're not going to last. Or they would say, oh, this is probably just for a photo op. And after staying there for years of coming every week and working with these young ladies, and then to see their lives change, and then all of a sudden we started to see sometimes even their mothers to come in, and they wanted to see what we were doing because they saw the difference in their daughters. And then the other thing that I will never forget is that when we would sometimes go into the housing, they don't like to call it projects anymore, but the housing areas over there, the gentlemen, the men there, they used to, when they would see our Forgiving for Living t-shirts, they used to basically step aside and give us respect, because they knew that we were really making a difference. Whereas in the very beginning, everybody used to give us a hard time because they just thought it was just somebody else rolling through, just for a moment. But it's about consistency. It's about letting people know that you care and being consistent and not giving up. And so for us, with all the work with Forgiving for Living, it's about really helping to make sure that these young ladies know that if they forgive not only themselves, but the people maybe who have hurt them, that they can go on and do the things that they were called to do in this world.
We're talking this morning with Wendy Gladney of Forgiving for Living Incorporated. You can find her at Wendy Gladney, just her name, Wendy, Wendy Gladney, on Instagram. Miss Wendy Gladney, looking ahead, what dreams and goals are you still hoping to achieve in your professional work, your writing, your personal life? What's ahead on the horizon for you?
Basically, Dara, I just really want that dash between the day that God gave me life and to the day I go home, that I will have touched lives and made their life better, whoever it is that crosses my path. And every day I just get up to try to do that.
Yeah.
It's not about for me just trying to make more money and all that. Of course we have to do those things to live, but it's about, I want people to know that somebody cares.
Yeah. We have been talking with Miss Wendy Gladney of Forgiving for Living, Inc. We thank you so much for being here with us on the front page. And I'm feeling like we might need another song, Bo, to kind of cap this off. Our final song that I was hoping we would have time for Miss Aretha Franklin, I think would fit very nicely with the work that Miss Wendy Gladney is doing around forgiveness and standing in the gap. We're going to do, we have our artist of the day because we're extending our Black Music Month. So we're going to do a Bridge Over Troubled Water, I think, by Aretha Franklin in honor of the work that you're doing. You're listening to Radio Free 102.3 FM, KGLH. I'm Dara Starr Tucker, and this is our artist of the day, Miss Aretha Franklin, with Bridge Over Troubled Water. Thank you.